All right, okay, we're doing this now. Okay, we got to start all over. Oh my god.
Been hacked by just Monica.
Anyway, welcome to the basically welcome to Danganronpa podcast. We did this this is take 3. I'm here with my friend Elena. I'm here with my friend Elena. This should work this time.
Dr. Sunflower Pony. Boy.
Excuse me. I know what happened because I know for some reason Twitch does not like Chrome. Like Twitch does not want Chrome to be up while people are streaming. It doesn't just happen to me. I had other streamers tell me they had the same problem. We had encoding issues because I clicked on the freaking message box, and apparently I wasn't signed in even though I was signed in. And it was like, and since it went to Chrome for 1 second, my encoding decided to get overload even though it wasn't. But whatever. Everything should be fine now. By the way, podcasts don't have music in the background. They just have voices. But I will try to put music in the background if it works. Nope. See, yep, it was the music file that was making the encoding overload. Yep, it was that. Exactly that. Never mind. I tried a new thing. It was gonna go.
Don't tell me we have to start over again.
No, we don't. I just exit out of the thing and then the encoding problem's gone. That's weird. Oh well, okay. I'll deal with that later because I use that to freaking before I start streaming. I use that because I got to get ready beforehand. So then I have the start streaming thing up, and then I have this thing up. And then freaking music's playing, so I don't know why it's giving me encoding issues right now, which is weird, but whatever. We're just gonna go with it.
He's smiling. Sorry, I'm playing with my dog.
Okay, we're gonna start. You know what? Welcome to the unprofessional Danganronpa podcast. Take 3. Freaking. We're just gonna, all the things that we just, we didn't really discuss that much, but all the things we discussed, we could discuss along the way. It's no big deal. I'll just start you off with this. First of all, your feelings on the first game.
Well, like I said before, I'm kidding. I think the first game was a good, start game, a good base game. Like I said before, it would make more sense if you play them in order, but you really don't have to. They make, like you said, and last time, they make references to the other games in the next games, like in Danganronpa 2, Monokuma, I said the taboo name, makes reference to the first game. I don't know, they kind of make references in the third game, but not in the way in the second game. In the second game, they're joke references, and in the third game, they're serious references. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
For me, I thought it was a really good start. Least favorite, which is good. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's a bad game. It just means it was the least best out of the 3, which should be the goal of all game designers. It should be the least favorite should be the one before the sequel. The sequel should be better than the first game, because you want to improve from then on. And I think that's what that's what Danganronpa series did. Even if they didn't, all the games were fantastic. So I have no complaints. Well, we'll get to that eventually. No game is perfect. One thing I do want to discuss is the overall general character cast. I want to get into that first.
For the first game?
Yes, of the first game. We're gonna pick apart the first game and go to the next one and the next one.
I get that.
I want to go to the all general cast of the first game, starting with Monokuma, because he's like the bad guy of the bad guy. By the way, there will be spoilers, so if you don't already know, it's in the title.
Making shit ton of spoilers tends to go, oh yeah, there's gonna be spoilers.
It's in the title, so if they don't say it, it's their fault.
Monokuma. Yeah, spoilers, by the way.
Okay, so first of all, we'll start with Monokuma because he's the antagonist. He's the antagonist of the he's the bad guy. Freaking, I gotta get it. I was like, oh, what is he?
What did you just?
So
anyway,
I'll start this off. Since you started off the last one. For me, as a character, I thought Monokuma was a pretty cool bad guy. I just think it's a whole bunch of game weeaboos that are like Japanese is better, blah 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 blah. Because the English voice acting was great. But I do agree that I prefer the Japanese voice acting for Monokuma. I don't know. I feel like the voice that they gave him fits him. It just sounds weird for some reason. It sounds a little bit off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
Like,
is it my turn now, or is it your turn?
I'm still discussing. I'm not just going to talk about his voice actor.
Sorry.
I mean, you can chime in if you can chime in if you want to, if you have something to say or add on to it. But,
No, that's fine. You go. You continue.
But like, I felt like as a character, Monokuma was a good bad guy because he made the whole game feel threatening. Which the whole game and the circumstances that they're all in is like threatening. It's literally like a life or death situation, and he made it feel threatening, and it was good. He was cute but also scary, and he had. I also really liked his humor too. It was kind of crazy-ish, which if that makes any sense, kind of crazy. Which it is crazy from enjoying a freaking killing game, but like I felt like his character and how they built his character, like it fit him. So I think they did a really good job on Monokuma. I felt like he in general is a good bad guy, and I love his character design. I freaking love his character design. And when I get money, I'm gonna freaking get a Nico B Monokuma penguin. That has nothing to do with anything, but you know what? By the way, it is your turn. And by the way, if you have something to comment on like what I'm saying, you can chime in. By the way, and after you're done talking, if we have more to talk about, then we can do that. Just to let you know.
Okay. Well, I mean, you kind of hit all the marks, but like I was gonna say that Monokuma progressively gets different. Like. In the first game, he's extremely lewd, but he's a stuffed animal that's scary, but they don't use the FNAF techniques where they jump scare you, but he's, like, scary, yet you can see that he's cute at the same time he's scaring the shit out of you. Like, he's scaring you psychologically, not, like, physically, I guess you could say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, like I was gonna say, at the first game, he's like really lewd about all the girls and shit. Are you okay there? I'm sorry. It's laughing. But then in the second game, he likes to make jokes about himself and like Monami, who we'll talk about too. And then in the third game, well. He is a bad dad. Anyway.
Bad dad.
Bad dad, bad kid.
Oh my god, okay.
If you get that reference.
Yes. Well, I felt like another thing I needed to add on. I felt like another good thing that made him a good bad guy was even though he cares about the rules because of him broadcasting the killing game to everyone in the outside world. I felt like, um, what was I gonna say? I felt like it was good because he interfered with the cases, even though he said he wasn't going to, and they were as fair as possible. He broke his own rules, which is what you expect a villain to do. You don't expect them to follow the rules, even though he did for the most part. But he like broke the rules when it mattered the most.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it was like 1 or 2 times, he still did it, and it impacted the game. And I felt like I'm glad they did that, because even though he was like, we're gonna make this fair and stuff, he still has a little bit of deceitfulness to him. I felt
Well,
like,
I mean, all the trials were fair leading up to like the last 2 trials. Then like he messed it a little bit, but you could also go the Danganronpa 3 route and be like, well, Monokuma didn't do it, the mastermind did. Ha 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 ha. Obviously, you know.
yeah, he kind of used that as an excuse. He's like, technically.
Technically, I didn't do anything. The mastermind did it. Which, in the first game, I was like, okay. Then in the third game, I'm gonna say this right now, in the third game, I thought it was complete and utter bullshit.
No, I'll
No, we'll get to that. We'll
We'll
to that.
we'll get to that, but I do have reasoning behind it. I will
And then
tell
I'll
you-
explain my reasoning.
I will tell you when we get to that, the overall reaction of the fan base, which was kind of my reaction. It was similar to theirs.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get to that later. That's when we get to the third game. Now for the character roster, we're off to Monokuma. I'm looking at the picture right now, so I'm just gonna go on to Leon because I felt like his would be the shortest. No, actually, let's go in order of deaths. Let's go to Mikuro Ikusaba. Anyway, if you don't know her character, which
Wait, wouldn't it be the pop idol? What's her name?
Junko, the freaking mastermind.
No, the girl who got stabbed by Leon.
No,
Didn't she die first?
Mikuro Ikusaba died first.
No, she didn't.
No. Yeah, you're right. No, I'm wrong. Oh, because, yeah, she died first, and then she was like, I'm not participating in this killing game, and then she got killed. Okay, no, you're right.
I mean, we can do Mikuro, but you know,
We'll play the game right now.
we'll play it right now and find out who dies first, man. I'll invite you.
Okay, let's go to Maizono,
Okay.
the very forgettable character. Sorry. What was that?
Who was that? I can't remember.
Honestly,
Wasn't she there?
Honestly, I thought she had more of a character than her killer, but at the same time, she was also forgettable.
Yes, that is true.
Okay, Maizono, I forgot her last name. Whatever. Maizono,
Yeah.
the idol, the pop sensation person.
It starts with an S, doesn't it?
Oh, dang it! Freaking, they preferred to her. They didn't prefer her as Maizono. They used her last name. Asayaka! Boom. Boom.
Right.
Got it. What prize do I win?
None, because I was the one who said she died first. now continue.
Freaking, Sayaka Maizono, Sayaka, I don't care. Freaking. First of all, very forgettable character.
Yes.
But for when you did see her, I felt like they forced her to have all this characterization in one spot and then killed her off. It's like, here's some forced characterization with her. Now she's dead. This was the first case though of like this type of game. So First of all, we will get to this later, but I want to say real quick. I thought the first case, even though it was simple, it was a good way to start. With the characters they used, how they started it, the pacing and everything, and how the case went about. I also did like the twist that Maizono wasn't completely just a victim. That she was at least a little bit involved in her own death.
Bitchy.
But we'll get to that later. Okay, Maizono, I felt like her character was forced. Very forced.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Because she was the one that's like, I know the main characters, so let me just hang out with them all the time until I die. So that's like the kind of characterization you got with her, unless you hung out with her at free time events all the time. But why would you when Leon has a freaking good skill that you can start out with? I mean, seriously. I did like that she had a little bit of a desperate side. Like, she seemed all innocent, but like when she was put into a situation like this, she was kind of like, "Oh, I'm gonna crack." Like, you can chime in anytime you want.
Oh, is it my turn?
I mean, this is just, podcasts are basically conversations. You can chime in. Just act like this is a conversation.
Okay, well, oh my god. Ah. I'm making sure my brother doesn't walk in the room because he would ruin this thing in 2 seconds. But, well, yeah, I kind of agree. They do kind of force her, like, relationship with him. Like the girl he's gonna fall in love with. Then they kill her off. Then they make her seem like a total B-word. So then it's just like, was she a good person? Was she not? The thing is that they pull a similar stunt in Danganronpa 2.
Yep.
And, I mean, they do it a lot better in Danganronpa 2. We're probably thinking of 2 different instances.
Tomato.
But, you know, they do it better in Danganronpa 2, which is a good thing. You'll hear me throughout this entire podcast when we're mentioning a character or something, and I'll just be like, well, this is this character, but they did her better, and this, you know, like... Yeah, well, Danganronpa... Maizono is the pop singer, right?
Yep.
Well, Ibuki is the pop's whatever...
Musician.
For the second game, yeah, musician, sorry. For the second game, and honestly, I prefer Ibuki over Mizono, but in the third game, we have... I cannot remember any of the characters from the third game's names. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Josh.
I'll help you out. What's the talent?
This shouldn't be this hard. She was the ultimate pianist.
Oh, Kaede, the main character?
Yeah, Kaede, thank you. Then we had Kaede for the third... I know, I'm sorry. Kaede in the third game. She's a better version of both of them. Like, I like Kaede better as a character than I like Ibuki or Mizono, but they have the same style. Like, and the thing is, Kaede also is similar to my... It's killed off in the beginning of the game, but you get her character faster and a lot better paced. And that's mainly because, you know, she was the main character. But yeah, let's not talk about that. Let's continue on with the story.
Real quick, did you play the post content in the second game?
Oh, the one with Monami?
Yeah.
No, I didn't, but I watched Nico B play it.
Alright, I haven't played it yet, but if you think you know enough to discuss it, then that's okay. Because I do want to discuss the post-content in the third game for certain reasons. Mainly because of Kaede.
In the second game?
No, in the third game. I want to... Like, you could discuss it in the second game. I want to discuss the post-content in the third game.
I haven't seen anything for the third game.
Yeah, but I was saying if you're okay with it, I'll discuss post-game content for the
Yeah.
third game. Because I haven't played or seen anything of post-game content in the second game. And I don't care if you tell me about it.
Okay.
So
That's fine.
Then if you're okay with the third game, I'll tell you about the post-content in the third game.
Alright.
But I do have certain reasons why I do want to discuss it. But we're not there right now. We're still in the first one. we can't get sidetracked. Like, we're not sidetracked because it's connected, but at the same time, it's like...
We should probably move along a lot faster. Like,
I mean,
maybe just...
podcasts are long, so, like...
That is true.
It's not a big deal, but yeah, we do need to watch our pacing, though. Because we do got to discuss 3 games, and if we can't get through all of it, like, this doesn't have to be, like, a one podcast thing, because I'm not going to move on to, like, the other podcasts until I finish this game series. So, like, if we end up doing only the first game tonight, then I'll just wait for you to be available again, then we can do the second game and then the third game, blah, blah, blah. Because, like, there's other games I do want to do a podcast on, but if we can't get all of what we need to say done in this one podcast, then we could just split into separate streams. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
So, at the same time, we do need to watch our pacing, and at the same time, we don't really. Because I don't want to feel rushed. I want to get everything out. Because I got so many things to talk about in this game. But really, I think we're finished with Miyazono. She didn't really have that much characterization. I agree with that. I feel like Kaede was handled a lot better than Miyazono.
Yeah.
I want to go
And
to
Ibuki.
Kaede yet. Oh, and Ibuki.
Yeah.
Ibuki. Well, she had more time in the sun, though. She had more time
Well,
in the sun.
Ibuki had more time, but I still think Kaede was better than Ibuki.
Oh, yeah, Kaede was definitely better than Ibuki. Ibuki wasn't really a character that stood out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but like Ibuki was better than Miyazono, even though he got more time to develop as a character. I believe more Miyazono, she probably would have fell flat more than Ibuki. If you anyway,
Well, moving on to the next dead person, Mikuru Ikusaba, aka Junko lookalike.
not look alike because she has hair and freckles.
Well, the reason why I say that is because
Yes. Yes.
she disguised herself as Junko because she was the twin sister.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Even though it was confirmed, they don't, which was weird. They're like, look nothing alike, but we fooled you, ha ha ha. And they're like, well, we never met you before in our lives. How are we supposed to know who's Junko and who's not? God.
I think that's why it worked.
Yes.
Which it was really clever on Junko's part, but we'll get to her later. She's the last one we're going to talk about because she's not. We're not going to talk about her last because technically, Naegi.
She dies before.
Yeah, she dies.
Yeah,
and the other ones
Naegi.
don't.
For Nagi, whatever, all the rest of them, the people who survive. Anyway. I mean, I say anyway a lot. Anyway.
I used to do that, but then I took a speech class. Or not? What do you mean? Hold on, what do you mean? Oh no, what are you saying? Anyway, let's move on. Freaking more. Ikusaba. I haven't watched any playthroughs of Danganronpa If. Not really a playthrough, but like a read. Apparently, Nickel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently, Nickel B did one. And I'm gonna go watch it, but apparently it puts more characterization in Mikuro. Which is good. I'm glad because she didn't really get her chance to shine. She had to act like Junko, and unless you hung out with her, you didn't really get an ideal of her actual character. And I didn't hang out with Junko because freaking I didn't care for her, nor did she give me any good skills. So I was like, whatever. I hung out with Leon and Tagami. That's it. Those are the first people I hung out with. Tagami. Well, he had a good skill. I don't care how douchey he is. He has a good skill.
Person.
But
Right, Missy?
he has one of the best skills in the game.
Do you think that matters? She's looking at my phone like I'm crazy.
She's like, it does matter. There's not really much to talk about her because she didn't. In the first game, you just got a little bit of background story and that's it. She was Junko's twin sister. She helped her, and it wasn't planned for her to get killed, but she did it anyway.
No, okay, Josh. It was not planned for her to get killed. We all know that Junko's ultimate plan was for everyone to die.
No,
so there's no way
Junko's plan, but she didn't know that was part of the plan.
But then you can't say it wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah.
Junko was the plan creator. She knew that was going to happen. She knew Mikuru was going to die no matter what, whether or not she pushed her to or what happens. But she knew that her sister was going to die in some way. And I know that Mikuru, being in this game, possibly knew that she was going to die as well.
Well, that's actually watch the character analysis on her because I watch Weeby News, best Danganronpa YouTuber. But she does character analysis and stuff, and she did a character analysis on Mikuru Ikusaba. She based it off of the her character in the first game, her character in Danganronpa If, and her hangout moments in the first game. But apparently, from what I'm just to sum it up, because I haven't watched If, but from what I've heard from the character analysis, which I'm very excited about If because the because the character analysis of her was like really interesting and made me like her as a character. But apparently, the reason why she worked with Junko is because she felt really bad for leaving because they grew up like in like a really unfortunate, really bad, and Junko fell into despair, and Mirko Ikusaba, her only purpose in her life was to please her sister.
But then that doesn't make sense with the anime at all. I don't know if you've gotten to that part where Junko comes in. Well, yeah, you have.
Yeah.
Comes in. Mukuro starts helping her, right? And you hear Mukuro's thoughts, or however you pronounce her name, and she's like, "Oh, being killed by my sister would be the best thing ever." Like she's lusting after despair too.
That does make sense though, and I will explain that. Hey, Bubba Chase, what's up? But here's the thing. I was gonna explain that in her character analysis, because I haven't watched If yet, but I'm getting from a character analysis. She really adored her sister, and her job was to please her. And the reason why she was so up about, oh, it would be lovely to get killed by my sister, is because the only thing that would please Junko. My audio is really low. What? Really? That's weird. Why is my audio really low? Hold on. Really? Because in OBS it says it's high. I don't get, why is my audio low? Why? Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3. Boom. Levels, it's all the way up. Why? How's my audio low then? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Are you sure you guys haven't turned up your stuff? Because my audio in OBS is perfectly fine. And so is it on the screen too. That's weird. I'll turn myself up though. Is that better? I don't know why it's low. That's weird. Is that better? Because compared to her. Okay, it was in comparison. Okay, I got it. Then I'll turn you down a bit.
Guys, I'm a loud person. Okay, like you can't fault me on the fact that I'm 10 times louder than him by normal comparison. I'm holding my phone like almost a foot away from me, and I'm probably still 10 times louder than he could ever be.
Okay. I hope that's
don't know
better,
if that's a
guys.
burn on him or a burn on me, but it's a burn either way. And someone needs aloe vera, but we don't know who it is.
Well, anyway, to continue on, thanks for letting me know. I couldn't understand what Room Factory was trying to get at. So I'm glad. Thanks, Room Factory. Thanks, Bubba Chase. Thank you very much. Well, I don't know. Room Factory, you're freaking describing it weird. Go, Tim. Okay, anyway, let's continue on. But she was like, her purpose in life was to please her sister, and since Junko fell into despair, the only thing that would please her is despair. So that's why she's always so happy about getting killed by Junko, because at the same time, she doesn't want to get killed by Junko, but at the same time, she wants to, because she knows killing her sister, her killing her own sister, is like the ultimate despair, because they're blood and they love each other. But it would also please Junko.
Well, that would make more sense if they didn't make it seem like a perverse thing in her mind. Like, oh yes, I would totally love being killed by my sister.
Yeah,
He's so fucking horny. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
They over-exaggerated a lot of things in the anime, or at least from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Except for Tagami, he's spot on.
Which one?
Not Fat Tagami, not the
Not best Tagami in the world.
Sister killing is good 90% of the time. Oh, by the way, Bubba Chase, I'll be reading all your comments. I just won't be saying all of them out loud because this is a podcast. But anyway, I felt like once I watch or play or not play it, like read about it, I would like her character a lot more from what I heard from her character analysis. But really, in the game, they didn't really give her much character development. They just explained her back.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I did read, oh gosh, I can't remember what this is called. I know it's not the If, but it was, the story about that redhead chick. What's her name? I can't remember. Which is oddly ironic, being that that's her talent, is not remembering anything. It's basically about this redhead girl. I don't know if you've read it, but she doesn't remember her life, and she can't remember anything past the next 24 hours. And so she writes everything in a book.
Like Ganta?
And if she writes... What?
Like Ganta?
No. She writes stuff down. But the thing is, she was very skilled in being analytical. And so that was her actual, like, ultimate talent. So she could, like, look at someone, see their moves, like their fighting moves, and then immediately being able to dodge those because she can see, like, oh, that's what they're doing. She'll write it down quickly and then figure out what she needs to do after that. Well, throughout the whole thing, it gets kind of messed up. Like, she's in love with this guy, but he won't love her back. And then she meets Mikoro, who is like extremely attached to her for some reason, and goes on and on about her sister Junko. And this kind of goes with your whole, thing, like Mikoro is actually a good sister. But you find she meets Makoto. Actually, she meets Makoto. She meets a bunch of other people.
I heard about this. I know what you're talking about. She falls in love with Makoto because that's the first person that actually showed her kindness.
No.
Oh, not that part?
No. In this game, in this book or whatever it is, she does not fall in love with Makoto. She hates Makoto. She looks at him and she's like, "This guy, I don't like him. I don't know why, but I just hate him." And I love that because the reasons. Anyway, she thinks he's self-centered or something. I can't really remember. But the thing goes on, she meets, I think his name is Izuru. Isn't that his name from the second game?
Izuru?
Izuru, yeah.
Izuru.
I think she meets him, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, but she remembers who she actually is, and she regains her memories. And regaining her memories, she kills the one she loves, and guess what you find out?
What?
She is Junko Enoshima, and that the person she was in love with stole her memory so that she wouldn't become the ultimate despair. However, it didn't work. It did not work at all. And well, yeah. And you also find out that she was basing people in her sleep, which was also kind of weird. Like, she had split personalities, where she was this redheaded chick who was, like, all bubbly and weird, and then she was Junko Enoshima in the dark times in the night. But anyway. And so, yeah. Actually canon, too, so I'm just like, okay.
The funny thing was, since Mikuru Ikusawa didn't get much characterization in the first game, I thought we were just going to talk a little bit about her and then just move on. We talked a lot about her character specifically. I think it's because she's so interesting. Even though she got like barely any backstory in the first game, the side games were the side canon stuff where they actually explain her character make her interesting.
Yeah, but maybe we should move on to another character.
Yeah. We've been okay, whatever. Let's go on to Leon, the most boring character ever.
Screw Leon. That's the end. Goodbye.
Okay, so
the next character.
Here's the thing, Leon. I'm very upset with him. He, out of all the characters, his was my favorite character design. I love his character design. It's so good. If you want to know who he is the redhead. All the way over to the left. That's for the viewers, by the way. Well,
yeah, I can't
red,
see or read your comment.
But he is the redhead guy. His character design is phenomenal. But yet, he was the most basic, plain, uninteresting character who happened to be the first murderer. And it was so dumb. Even, like, everyone else had an interesting reason why they murdered this person. But nope, his was just like, because I could. That's it.
Pretty much.
There was no, I want to get out of here, that's why, or I'm going crazy. Nope, his was just, I saw the opportunity, I did it. That's it.
Well, you find out a little bit more about him later. And I don't know if you've watched a playthrough of Ultra Despair Girls. Have you?
I haven't, because I want to play the game myself.
Okay, well, then you wouldn't know that in that game you actually meet Leon's baseball team coach, like the what's Nekomaru? He's one of those team coach. What? There's a special name for it.
Team manager.
Yeah, team manager. She's Leon's team manager, and apparently they're related or something. I can't remember exactly, but she was the person that was kidnapped, and was shown on that screen that, with his team, and was starting to be killed.
Oh, okay.
She ends up being a boss character in the third game, like, not like a boss, but like, like a badass character. But she's not in the story very much. She's much of a side piece of it. But she is a badass when you get to know her.
Oh, that's good. Only person I got spoiled on was Ashina's brother. I accidentally saw the execution.
Oh no!
So I got spoiled on that.
It was so sad. I hate that. Like, it made me cry.
I felt
Not even because of him, though. It wasn't even because of him. It was because of Asahina herself. I was, just thinking how terrible this must be for her to realize that her brother has been, brutally killed just as he wanted to find her. First of all, she has to go through Sakura killing herself. Now she's going to go through her brother trying to leave and go see her and ends up dying as well. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked again.
Yeah. And the story, Leon's not interesting, but his character
No.
design is awesome. Moving on. Next, we're going to Chihiro. I think who died next. Yep.
Yeah.
The boy, girl, girl, boy, boy, girl, boy, girl, girl, boy, girl.
They, them, it. What?
Basically, Chihiro is the one next to the big buff girl, which, yes, that is a girl and a boy. And Chihiro is the ultimate. By the way, we haven't been saying their ultimates. Freaking.
Oh.
Mikuzara is the ultimate soldier. Maizono's ultimate pop sensation, and Leon's the ultimate baseball player. Chihiro, who dies next,
It's the ultimate trap.
who is the victim, is oh my god, is the ultimate programmer, computer programmer, blah 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 blah. Yeah, he's very smart, and I might slip up and say she because you think it's a girl the whole time until he gets murdered, and then you found out it's a he.
It's a trap.
His character growth was very interesting, and I felt like the whole AI thing kind of continued it in a way.
Yeah.
The reason why he pretended to be a girl, which it was weird. I still think it's weird. But you know what? There was a serial killer, so it's not a big deal.
Well, I don't think it was that weird because people in our modern day actually do the same stuff. Like
Well, yeah. But back when it was made at the time, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's transgenders, transsexuals. I'm gonna probably offend someone just by saying those words, but they exist.
Fight me.
They exist, and there are people who are they/them who like to wear dresses some days and like to let their dick swing the next day. They don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, that's why I'm so just kind of like, meh. Like, it's a guy, okay? If he wants me to call him a he, that's fine. If she wants to be called a she and still have a limp dick hanging out of her dress, that's fine too. I do not give a shit. Okay?
I still like this character. Like,
yes.
He was a little cinnamon roll.
Yes.
He was a little cinnamon roll. And freaking, the reason why was because, like, he lived around a whole bunch of tough people. And, he was like, I'm told to act like a man, but I'm not strong enough to. I cry a lot and everything. And he's like, I'll start acting like myself once I start putting that into action. And the sad part was the murderer for that case, Mondo, which was another fantastic character. She went to Mondo. He went to. Oh my god, I just slipped up. He went to Mondo to get stronger and learn how to be stronger and tougher. And he kind of freaked out. Like, not because...
I blame PTSD.
Yeah, not because...
Let's not be joking, though. Like, I seriously believe Mondo would probably have PTSD from seeing his brother be smashed headfirst into a freaking truck. Yeah. Let's not be lying here. If you saw that, you would probably have some PTSD too.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't blame Mondo. Like, here's the thing. It wasn't because of the secret. He was surprisingly... I didn't expect him to be, but he was surprisingly, like, very accepting of the secret. It was just because, like, Chihiro was like, "You're strong," and then he felt like, "Oh wait, no, they don't know my secret." So in a way, he thought he lost his anger. He kind of cracked because of his secret. He didn't feel strong, but then someone's calling him strong, and he's like, "No, are you mocking me?" And then he made his anger, and then he accidentally killed someone. And it was especially sad after that whole bro moment. Oh.
Mhm.
Oh man. We'll get to that later. I personally liked him as a character, and he was very useful because of the whole AI thing. that he made that
Yeah.
basically helped with unlocking the secrets of the school. So he was a very important character. It was just like I wish he was alive for a little bit longer. I kind of figured he was gonna die. Honestly, I kind of figured he was gonna be one of the people that were gonna die. I just didn't expect it to be so soon. I was like, why? It's the second case, you're already dead. Next, we're going to talk about Mondo, the killer of Chihiro. Unless you have something to say on Chihiro.
I kind of said what I had to.
Alright. Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. That's why I went on, but I wanted to make sure. Freaking Mondo, JoJo reference guy. The bizarre JoJo haircut looking dude.
I mean, I said a lot about him earlier with the whole PTSD idea, and like I don't want to offend people who actually do have PTSD or anything, but like I imagine literally seeing your brother being smashed head on by a truck would probably cause some mental damage.
Yeah,
and
the worst
it
part.
does.
The worst part was it was his fault.
It wasn't. No. I can see why he blames himself. It isn't entirely like, oh no, it's definitely not his fault. He did something that caused some bad things, but it was ultimately his brother's decision to get back in front of that truck to save his brother's life. But, I mean, in all fairness, I don't think Mondo was really to blame. He isn't to blame for killing Chihiro. I'm not saying because he had PTSD or whatever was going on in his head ultimately makes him such a good guy that he can't be a terrible, ruthless killer. But it makes me sympathize with him a little, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I love it when there's, like, a character who just refuses to believe that it's the killer. Like, oh, my best friend's the killer. Oh, the girl I'm in love with's the killer.
Well, here's the thing, like, I like that because it adds interest. It adds like actual human. It actually adds actual human feelings. I felt like they did it. What was his name? Phoenix Wright looking dude. Ishimaru. There you go, Ishimaru. I felt like they did the whole Ishimaru thing a lot better. Like, he was like, no, it can't be Mondo. I felt like they did his thing better than they did Kaido. I felt like when Kaido was trying to defend Ganta, it was just to the point where it was annoying.
Yeah.
But with Ishimaru, you actually felt like really, really sorry for him.
Well, the other ones I'm talking about, you would obviously know, but
Yeah.
maybe we shouldn't talk about those ones just yet.
Oh,
As they're the literal saddest moments of Danganronpa are these two trials in Danganronpa 2.
No!
So let's talk about them when we hit Danganronpa 2.
Alright. Yep. There were a lot of sad moments in Danganronpa 3, but we'll get to those later too. I think on the more emotional aspect, Danganronpa 2 was a lot more emotional.
Mm-hmm.
But even though 3 had really emotional things, that did make me cry. But really,
I will say this.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I will say this. Danganronpa B3 only made me cry probably like when Danganronpa 2 made me cry probably like 6 times playing it, and I haven't even finished the game.
Yeah, I feel like almost every trial was sad for 2. Rather in 3, there were like the first one was sad, but it's not sad when I play it the second time because I get it, even though you know what happens and the reason why, and the fact that it's them too is sad. But it didn't keep being sad every time I played it. However,
Now let's try
the fourth case for 3 wasn't emotional every time you played it, like in the second game, because Like the first time it was because I was totally oblivious to everything. But then I realized the second time I played through it how obvious it was, and then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now the 5th trial, I cry every time. I can't. When I see that, I just can't. The 5th trial made me sad. But we'll talk about that later.
The first trial and the 5th trial made me cry, and then those were the only like times I ever cried. Like I cried once on both of those trials, and that's like the only time I cried during Danganronpa V3.
I felt like you would have cried at the 4th trial if you didn't catch on to the pattern of the culprit.
Gosh, it was so obvious.
But I didn't catch on, and neither did Nico. He suspected him, but he wasn't completely sure. I completely was oblivious because I was like, oh, that's just a freaking okay, good. They can hear me. Good. Oh, you see, it was on you. But I know Bubba was having issues with the thing too. So, anyway, back on topic. See, I didn't suspect it at all, and the rest of the people that I watched were like you. And they suspected him, but they weren't completely sure. You were, like, deadly sure. You're like, yes. Hold on, BRB.
I mean, to be honest, you were terrible. If you hadn't been like, oh, it's the saddest Danganronpa trial in history, it's terrible. I'm like, oh, I bet I know who's gonna die. I bet I know who's gonna be the killer. Yes, you did, really. And, like, there are a lot of hints, but when you said that, I was kind of just like, I bet it's going to be Gunta. There was a bunch of characters that I knew would make me sad if they were the killers, but I knew the only two that I suspected were Gunta and, World Domination guy.
Kokichi?
Yeah, Kokichi.
Best boy? Actually, second best boy? Second best boy?
I literally told you I can't remember any of the characters' names from Danganronpa V3.
Pause real quick.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to shut the door because I don't want any freaking noise going through in the background. Oh, okay, I get it. Thank you. Okay, anyway, let's not. We'll talk about that when we get to the game. I don't want to keep focusing on that.
Yeah, because we're gonna not get very far in the first game. If we...
Third case. We'll start with Ishimaru because I'm biased. You start off first because I've been starting off.
Ishimaru did technically die first, so
yeah.
If you go by how the trial is. I like this trial, even though it was extremely obvious that Celeste was the killer.
We'll talk about the trials separately. We're talking about Ishimaru.
Ishimaru as a character, fine. Ishimaru as a character was pretty good. I especially liked him. I know you didn't when he turned into the mixture of Mondo and Ishimaru. I know you don't like him when he's like that, but I kind of love the fact that he was trying to curse but failing extremely at it. And the fact that he was trying to be tough but is not at all tough. Because these two characters, their personalities clash, where when they're mixed together like that, they make the most funny and, like, terrible character at the same time. Like, if it was an actual, just regular character, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's a terrible character. But because it's a mishmash of two characters that are completely different, I was kind of like, yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Well, another reason why I probably didn't like it was because at first, when I first met him, I did not like him as a character. Because he was a huge anime trope and over-exaggerated on everything. But then I played it again and did a free time event and figured out why he's the way he is. And then I'm like, okay, now that I understand you as a character, I like you a lot. And I felt like that kind of took away from who he was. At the same time, it didn't because you explained it to me. but at the same time, it was like I kind of felt like it threw me off. But as Ishimaru himself, I like him as a character, especially after doing his hangout event, because you figure out that his father was in politics, and he was like the prime minister, but he was corrupt, and his family was judged for it because he stole a lot of money from the government and blah 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 blah. And that's why he's like the ultimate moral compass, because he doesn't want to live his way his dad did. And he wants to become, at first he didn't want to become prime minister, but then he wanted to become it to prove everybody wrong and be like, I'm not like how my dad is. So like I felt like after I hung out with him and understood why he's like, why the way he is, then I was like, you're an amazing character. Also, I love the bromance. I love the romance so much. Like seriously, like even Kodaka said if they were to survive together, they would have lived with each other. Mondo and
Ishimaru.
Ishimaru.
Is that how you say it? I think so.
Yeah.
Well, like I was gonna say, Ishimaru actually impersonating Mondo in his own childish way. I'm pretty sure it's probably because this was the first time he dealt with a loss of someone so close to him, and that can mess people up. First of all.
Yeah. Also, you are actually right on the money with that, because Ishimaru didn't really have any friends growing up. And
yes,
Mondo,
he didn't.
Not only was his really first friend, but his first like really close friend. Like his first friend was like ended up being really close to him. Ishimaru is the one saluting, by the way, and Mondo's the one with the JoJo JoJo haircut.
Alright, I think we said a lot about Ishimaru, so...
The ultimate moral compass, just in case it didn't say that.
I'm pretty sure you said it like 15 times in a row.
Now Hifumi, the ultimate otaku.
So...
I mean, it's true.
What?
Technically, he's the ultimate fanfic writer or whatever, but he is definitely a huge otaku.
Oh, no, I was giving the ginormous freaking sigh because of how much I hate this character. I hate him so much.
I'm gonna let you start, but I will open up with this. I agree with you. I hate his character, but whoever was his voice actor for his character was my favorite.
Yes,
his voice actor
was great, but him as a character was just terrible. He kind of seemed like one of the that they actually set in just to make Ishimaru mad so that he ends up dead. Like, don't you... Because, like, he sucks up to the ladies to the point where he'd do anything for some pussy. And so much as, like, killing someone and then winding up getting himself killed for it. Like... You didn't need to drag Ishimaru into this, man. He had a way better reason for having that computer than you. His best friend died and you barely knew Chihiro. You just want to slobber all over her fake dick, okay? I'm sorry. He's so mad. Like...
I get it. I hate him as a character, too. I felt like he was literally a filler. He was kind of a filler for everyone else. And he was just there.
Yeah. And like I said, I feel like they had the idea of dying because of some pervert, and they're like, well, let's make it that he thinks Ishimaru's a bad guy when Ishimaru's really the best character in the fucking world. And then he ends up killing Ishimaru, and then, the person who told him to kill Ishimaru ends up killing him. Because, he's a fucking idiot and can't realize that he would be the murderer and he would have to die anyway.
Yeah. there's not a lot I have to say about this character. It's just he wasn't very interesting at all. He was kind of a pushover.
I will add one thing. With him being a story writer, well, actually, he's a story writer or whatever, he was the stupidest character in Danganronpa history. He literally killed someone for a girl, did not realize that this would make him the Blackened, casually went, well, obviously she's the Blackened now. So then he didn't even get that she was about to kill him. Then, using her formal name so that it looked like puffy hair guy, can't remember his name, is the killer. Like, oh, I know I've never used her, like, before, but I'm casual now that I know it.
I'm sorry, but...
It was set up.
I'm sorry, but Room Factory commented on Ishimaru. He said, "Stitches get stitches." It's so true. Snitches get killed. Okay, continue.
No, that's all I have to say about Hifumi.
Right. I felt like you had a lot more to say about Hifumi than I did, but like, you basically tied everything in. I just really hated him. He was the classic anime pervert trope. It was
yeah.
I felt like he was a filler character.
Yeah.
And they tried to make him seem like he was important, but he wasn't really. Now on to Celeste.
Yes.
I don't hate her, but I don't like her. She's kind of a meh character.
Yeah.
She is the one that kind of enforced the rules. I did watch her character analysis, which made me like her more. If that makes sense, even though her character is super selfish. I just felt like her character was interesting.
Well, let me interject right here. The reason her character is meh, for me, this is not like an exact reason why, but she is the gambler, basically. In a sense, she is the ultimate gambler. So, when you think more about it, the fact that she can lie and pretend to be the nice, amazing girl she is, which she really wasn't in the first place, and pretend like, oh yeah, I'm happy here, when she really obviously wasn't because she murdered someone, it kind of makes sense, because, you know, a gambler has to hide their true feelings under a fake mask of insecurity and doubt. But you know what I mean? Like, she put on this mask that she was the goody two-shoes. We can't stay out after dark, and then she stays out after dark.
Well,
you know, like...
I'm going to interject here, because part of her character analysis was that she needed to be in control. She didn't like her lineage. She didn't like where she grew up. That's why she put on this mask. And her whole character was about, I have to be in control of everything. And she basically had control over everybody by enforcing the nighttime rule. It was passive, but she's the one that suggested it, and she always feels like that she has to be in a state of power. And that's why her dream was so like very obscure and like out there. Cuz she's like, I have to be in power, I have to be in control of everything. And really, for a freaking professional liar, she did a really bad job of freaking not making it obvious when she was the murderer.
That is true. I mean, for real. But, like, I also gotta say this right now. Right here, right now. She had one of the stupidest reasons to want someone dead. Like, oh, I want a mansion and hot vampire guys to suck my blood and do me under the sheets. First of all, none of that could happen. Second of all, you're dumb as fuck if you think that's gonna happen.
She just,
but
like I said, and like this is in tied with your with what you're saying. Really, her dream was she wanted freaking
power.
Vampire butlers, and this basically tied in her thing of power. Like she wanted to control a whole bunch of attractive men.
I was trying to make a joke.
Yeah, I know, but I'm tying into like what you're saying though.
Yeah, I got that part, but I was just gonna make a joke. But then she kills off Ishimaru. Well, she killed off in quotes because she basically made Hifumi kill him. But I mean, he assaulted me, and then Hifumi's like, oh, he did? Well, obviously he's a bad guy. Taking no proof from professional liar at all. But, like, you know.
By the way, just a side note, it was pretty funny because Rune Factory hosted me, like, earlier in the stream, and I have stream notifications for that, and my host stream notification just happens to be, Kokichi's face, going from his normal face to his very terrifying one when he says he's the mastermind. And he goes, let's have more fun. So I thought that was kind of funny. This is a Danganronpa themed podcast, and there was a Danganronpa character in the notification. I was like, hey.
Is that all we have to say about Celeste, or do you have some more comments?
Oh, I do have one more comment. In the setup for Twitch, this is just a little side thing for you. In the setup for Twitch, you have these panels where you can like do a lot of certain things, give information out and stuff. It's on if you like go to the page, if you go to the Twitch page of a certain streamer, ask panels where it's just like information about me and blah blah blah. There's a picture representing that panel. The funny thing is, for rules, I have Celeste's face for the rules. And it was so perfect. I didn't make the panels. A streamer named Onibro did. And I had him, I said, do rules Danganronpa themed. And he picked Celeste's face, and it's so perfect. I'll send it to you later. But anyway, nothing else about Celeste. Everything I want to talk about her is basically when we discuss the trials.
Yeah.
Next one, Sakura.
Is she the next one who dies?
Yeah, it's the 4th trial. She commits suicide, so it's the next one. I really love this. Oh, dang it, I can't talk about trial yet. I love her as a character. She
yes.
is...
We can talk about right before the trial, though, right?
Yes.
Because that's when we shine.
Even though Kirigiri is my waifu,
yes,
Sakura is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, I like Sakura a lot. Like I said, because of right before the trial happens, she basically confesses to working with the bad guy, even though she actually hasn't done anything wrong, and she immediately takes the blame for it. And the thing is, she allows them to yell at her and everything, and she doesn't say anything back. She accepts it. But as soon as they hurt Asahina, she was like, okay, that's where I draw the line.
Like,
and I'm like, that's a truth right there. That's a truth right there. Truth random mundo.
Oh, freaking Sakura is... No, actually, I take that back. Sakura is my favorite character in this game. Even though Kirigiri is my waifu, Sakura is my favorite character in this game. She was just an amazing character. She was so supportive, especially to Asahina, or Ashina, however you want to pronounce it. Doesn't matter. I think the actual pronunciation is Asahina.
Oh my god. I just want to say this real quick. I just remembered when no, I can't say this. Never mind.
But
it's about the first trial, but it doesn't have anything to do with the actual trial. It's just the moment when they're accusing Asahina of stealing a knife, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't do it because Sakura was with me." And they were like, "Well, you could have done it later on." And Sakura's like, "No, we spent the night in each other's rooms." And then
oh yeah, Shikamaru was just like, "Hey, a man and a woman should have spent their time, should have been in the same dorm." He's like, "I'm a girl."
And I like the fact Sakura didn't get mad. She was just like, I'm a girl. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because he doesn't mean it.
Yeah, he didn't mean it in a harsh way. He was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Like, Ishimaru's, like, never mean. He's just strict.
You stretching?
But, anyway, who was it? Okay, we talked about... Oh, Celeste. Oh, no, we already said her ultimate talent. Basically, Sakura's the ultimate martial artist. And she's best character. She freaking sticks up for her friends. She's really kind. She doesn't care if, like, people are, like, push over. She just works on and building herself up, getting herself stronger physically and mentally. She works on protecting people. And even though she was the traitor who was working with Monokuma, and she was supposed to kill someone, she decided to turn against him. Well, the only reason she was a traitor was because her family was held hostage. So, literally, it wasn't like she was doing it out of, like, being evil. She did it because her family was being held hostage. And even in those circumstances, she decided, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to kill anybody.
Was it her family?
Yeah. It was her dojo.
I thought it was her dojo.
It was her dojo, but her family runs the dojo, though, so. Basically the same thing. So, she was under these intense circumstances, and even...
Josh.
What?
Let's talk about her murderer. Let's talk about Sakura.
Oh my god. Anyway, and, like, in the end, when everyone didn't trust her, but only people that trust her was Kirigiri, Naegi, and, Asahina. Those were the three people that still trusted her. And that's about it. After she trusted us
all. He murdered her.
And that's the thing. Those are the only people that trusted her after she was found to be the traitor. But she took it. She was like, I understand why people are acting this way, and I don't blame them. Whatever. But when, like, Ashina got involved, she was like, nope. And she was like, fine, if I have to take a life to set my dojo free, I'll take my own. And she ended up committing suicide. And by the way, yes, she did leave a suicide note to let everyone know who the culprit was. But Monokuma messed with the case and took the note. And that's why they had to go through the trial, and they almost lost the trial.
You know what? I don't think he messed up the case, though. If you honestly think about it, would it be a Danganronpa case if you didn't have to figure out who the murderer was?
Yeah. Oh, that's
because for Monokuma, this would be the most boring case ever if they just read the suicide note and went, oh, I guess it was a suicide.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm not mad at Monokuma for that, because I get it.
Yeah, and Asahina does end up, like, making it look like a murder in the first place.
In the first place,
Probably finding the suicide note, she would probably tear it up or throw it away. Yeah, and in this case, now he can give it to them.
Well, Asahina didn't even show them the fake suicide note until afterwards. So, yeah, she would have done that.
Either split it up or hide it or whatever.
Because her reasoning was she didn't want anyone to know that she did it. So really, it wasn't freaking Monokuma. That's why I don't blame Monokuma for it, because it wasn't all him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I get why Asahina did it.
Go ahead.
I don't blame Asahina either, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that your best friend committed suicide because people were hating her for a mistake. You'd probably get pretty pissed too and want them all to die. But, you know. We're not even supposed to be talking about the trial, so...
Yeah, we'll get back to that later. Moving on, let's talk about Mikuru Ugasama again!
Yeah!
No one else died. Oh, no, Junko. Junko's the last one to die.
Yes.
Junko Inoshima, the mastermind for the first and second game.
Fuck her. Okay, that's all I have to say.
I felt like for the first game, she was a good mastermind.
Yes.
Second game, as a voice actor and how she acted, she was better, but I wish she wasn't the mastermind for the second game.
Well, you see, the thing is, I actually like her in the second game, and I like more that she is the mastermind in the second game. I could get into that now, but I think I'm just gonna explain that later on when we talk about Danganronpa 2.
No, I agree with you. I liked her better as the mastermind in the second game, but I just wish she wasn't. But I don't.
I do like that she was, though. I do not wish she was.
I don't say. I still wish it was someone else, but at the same time, it worked. But
see, the thing is, with me, I like that it was Junko twice.
Yeah.
But, like, because the thing is, I'm going to give a little bit away. In the third game, it's not Junko.
Yeah, that's why I said,
not Junko?
That's why I said it was the first and second game. I didn't mention the third game.
Yeah,
but I was really happy that it wasn't her in the third game. Even though
I'm actually disappointed.
Even though Kadaka made fun of himself, and I love that. Because when you thought it was her, he was like, even if you say what again? I love that line.
The thing is, though, Josh, about the third game's mastermind, I'm disappointed in who it ended up being. I'm thoroughly disappointed.
We will talk about that later, but I personally like it. I will explain that in due time, and I'll also explain how the fan base feels in due time.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Rune Factory. Anyway, moving on. There's really not much to say. Actually, no, I still have something to say about Junko. We didn't really talk about it that much. Junko was a good mastermind in the first game. Junko was a good mastermind in the first game. I thought the whole despair thing, how it started, was first good. I do like in the third game how they go away from the despair hope theme, and it's truth and lies. I really like that, because I felt like it kind of got old after the second game. But for the first game, since it was just the first game, I thought it was really good how they implemented that theme, and how she kind of expanded on it. I felt like she was a good bad guy. Because she was clever.
Oh, maybe.
Because even though Junko was the behind-the-scenes person, she was still clever about everything. Like, she caused the whole school to go crazy and kill each other, so...
I would say something, but it has to do with Danganronpa 3, and like...
Well, yeah, we know. I know that, but technically, blah 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 blah, Danganronpa 3. But still, we'll talk about that when we get there, because it also got to talk about something, a theory that tied in with the epilogue. But we'll get to that later. That's all I got to say about Junko, though. Other than that, She was okay.
I mean, I liked her as a bad guy, but we never really got to see her as an actual character, which I kind of like, though, because when you, like, have a bad guy, like, have the personality of a good character, then you're just like, well, why is she bad then? And you have to give her a good reason to be bad.
Yeah.
And she does have a good reason to be bad. She lusts after despair.
And
she's a total bee, but...
And it's not like she was born that way. She fell into it when she was a child. So it's like, it didn't come out of nowhere. There was reasoning behind it.
Anyway, but let's continue.
We got, let's talk about the side characters first. Hanakura and Shina. Let's go to Hanakura first.
Kill me.
I think, actually... I'm gonna call him Hanakura, even though apparently his name is pronounced Hagakure. Apparently, he actually pronounced it like Hagakure, but I'm gonna call him Hanakura. I don't care.
I literally do not like his character at all, Josh. Like, it's not even like a... It's not a hate. relationship. It's just, I don't care for him as a person. I don't like him as a person. If he just died, I would not give a shit. I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be sad. I do not like his character at all. Just how I feel.
I actually wish that fan art that was at the end of the second game was true. Of him being the first victim. That's why I like the manga, because he's the first victim. But I hated him. He prolonged trials because of how stupid he was. He made us go through unnecessary deductions because of how stupid he was.
Kato.
Yes, but Kaido was a little bit more reasonable though. He didn't there was like one or two times where he had like stupid things that had to be cleared up.
You're supposed to continue talking while I continue to say Kato under my breath. Okay.
Well, did it come through? Ha! Well, I just didn't like him because, like, freaking Kaido, his was more prolonging the trial outside and not in gameplay. As for him, he prolonged it outside in gameplay and story. There was literally one point. There was literally a freaking non-stop debate event we had to do because Hagakure was all like, "Oh, it could be a ghost," when it was obviously not. It was so dumb.
It obviously was a ghost.
It was like, yeah, I agreed with Tagami. I'm like, why did we have to discuss that in the first place? He was just so stupid. I was like, why? There wasn't even like in a way to make the character good or make a character trait. It was just bad. He was useless. He was Sakura. Off of Naruto, by the way, not Sakura on Danganronpa. Okay, the fire alarm goes off and my coding goes up. All right. But anyway, just moving on because I have a lot of hateful things to say about him. I'm just gonna keep him to myself. Unless you have anything to say.
I said all I had to say at the beginning.
Okay, next character, Ashina? Ashina.
Asahina.
Freaking, I like her. She's so bubbly.
Asahina.
She's so bubbly.
Yeah, she was a sweet character. I keep mentioning the anime even though you haven't finished it, but I think she gets way more character development, like good character development in the anime, as like she becomes attached to Makoto, but not in the romantic way. Like she's just like, oh, you're like one of my best friends. I need to like not. Oh, I love you so much, Makoto. Let me suck your dick for free. Sorry. I keep making dick jokes.
I don't know if this is implemented in the anime, but this is implemented in canon apparently, which I'm very happy. But Kirigiri actually has a romantic interest in Makoto.
Yee.
Because like he's kind of like Hope and she's Logic, but even though Makoto is Hope, he's willing to use Logic to express Hope. And they kind of fit together, two pieces of the pie. And since they work together so much, and he ended up being the first person that she trusts, the connection was there, and she ended up canonly liking Makoto. I don't know how much it is. I don't know how much it is shown in the anime, but I know it is canon and it's shown through the games.
You haven't gotten to the part, have you?
Oh, do they kiss?
No.
Ah! I'm so bad! I'm so bad. That makes me cry. Oh.
No.
Oh, man.
Something does happen that's not actually happy though between them.
They break up.
No,
Kirigiri dies.
no.
Oh no! Freaking. I feel like even if I get it right.
Why would I say yes to any of those? That would spoil it for you. Watch it. Anyway, let's continue.
Okay. Tagami.
Fat Tagami's way better.
Technically, it's not Tagami. It's actually a different person, and he does.
I know.
He says his ultimate talent and his actual name.
Yeah, well, what I'm trying to say is that Fat Tagami does act like Tagami, but in a way nicer way, so that you're kind of like, is this Tagami?
Weakness.
He's kind of acting like Tagami, but he's also kind of not acting like Tagami. You know what I mean? Like, so it's trying to throw you off because you're just like, he's acting like Tagami, but he's not acting like Tagami. So which one is he?
It's like, what do I say? So
I think he was a good foil character, if you know what that means.
yeah.
Just to, like, for Makoto, but Kirigiri was a way better foil character for Makoto than Byakuya. So the reason they have two foil characters is kind of meh.
Well, I felt like Tagami was the antagonist of this game.
Yeah.
But they weren't. But he wasn't as good as antagonist as freaking.
Monokuma? Junko?
So, no, I know it's Kameda, but I'm trying to figure out the actual proper way to say his name. It's Kayom. It's. I think it's Komoeda. Komaeda or Komoeda or something like that. There's a proper way to say his name, but I still call him Kameda anyway. I'm just gonna call him Kameda, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a
The
proper
way that makes it be
There was an actual proper pronunciation to his name, but I was trying to say it because I know it. I just can't pronounce it. It's hard to say. Oh, it's Komaeda. There you go, Komaeda. It's weird.
Sorry, I'm kissing my dogs.
Well, like I think I'm just gonna split the podcast into 3 parts.
Oh, okay.
Because it's already been like almost 2 hours, and we're not finished with the first one. So we're gonna finish the first game in one part, and then in the second part we're gonna do the second game, and the third part we're gonna do the third game. Because I don't want us to rush through like all this.
I think the third game might be shorter than the rest of them because I don't have that many feelings on the third game, sadly enough. Even though I played it for myself,
I do.
I literally have no feelings on the game.
I have a ton of feelings on the third game, and I know some of your arguments will counter mine, and that's where the discussion will lead. So
yeah,
I think the third game will be lengthy. I don't think it'll be as lengthy as the second one, but it will definitely be a lot longer than the first one.
The second one is gonna be fucking like 4 hours, I bet you.
Hey, I can talk about this all day.
Entirely, we're gonna spend it just talking about the complexity of Gundam Tanaka.
Oh my god.
Gundam Tanaka is the best character in the franchise, and you won't tell me otherwise.
Actually, it's Ryoma. You still got a ways to
Fuck
go.
you.
Hey, you can't mess with Best Boy. Anyway, I felt like Tagami was a good antagonist. He wasn't as good as, of course, Kameda and Kokichi, but like that's because it wasn't
Kokichi
as...
was dead.
Kokichi was the best antagonist. I felt like he was the more improved version of Kameda, but we'll get to that later. But...
No. Let me just say one thing.
No.
Kokichi was the updated version, but like he kind of acted like Monokuma as an antagonist, but as a legitimate person character. Yeah. That's all I wanted to say.
All right.
Okay.
Freaking. But like, Tagami was not an antagonist of like being evil, messing everything up. He was just like a rival.
Yeah.
He was more like a rival.
Josh,
and very arrogant.
Never mind.
What?
Sorry.
What?
Nothing.
What?
Continue. Sorry.
And, like, he was more like a rival. He was very arrogant. He was intelligent though. I cannot deny that he was intelligent. He was smart and cunning, but he was a douchebag. He was like, I got money behind my name. Ugh, glasses.
Turns out you don't, bitch.
Oh, okay. If you don't have anything to say, I'm gonna move on to the specific character for this reason.
What are we doing?
Do you have anything to say about Tagami?
Besides that he's a little bitch, no.
All right. Literally, I was gonna do Fukawa first because the main three are Tagami, Kirigiri, and Naegi, but I forgot about Fukawa. I forgot about Fukawa.
Who doesn't forget about Fukawa?
But we're doing her next.
Okay, I gotta say this, Josh. I know you haven't seen a Let's Play or seen anything about Ultra Despair Girls, but once you do, you're going to like Fukawa a lot better, and you're going to remember her a lot more. Because they develop her character 1,000,000%. Instead of being the shy-off character who only cares for Byakuya, she becomes this character who just blossoms into this kind and caring character who can still tend to be a giant asshole at times, but still cares enough to not want the person dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, she ends up turning more into that character than the psychotic yandere chick she is in the first game. So, we probably shouldn't have done this until you actually played through or watched a playthrough of Ultra Despair Girls, because some of these characters get shit ton of development in them.
Well, that's why we're gonna do a separate podcast on Ultra Despair Girls.
Yes.
But for right now, my feelings on Fukawa are, I don't hate her. I honestly do like her a little bit. How she's a little bit obsessed with Byakuya, and how she's like really, I don't know. I feel like they do her rudeness in a good way, like Natsuki. That's a good example. I feel like she's Natsuki. She's rude, but she's a good character, and I like her. So
she becomes more like Natsuki in Ultra Despair Girls. Obviously she's more like that with Nagi's sister, of course. She basically at first is like uncaring and detached from Naegi's sister, which I'm guessing her last name is also Naegi, so why don't I just call her Naegi? But you know, they become really close by the end of the game, and like their relationship gets to the point where they become so close, and it's kind of cute. And a lot of people do end up shipping them because of how cute they end up being in the end.
yeah,
And how much Fukawa ends up blushing around Naegi.
yeah.
But yeah.
Even without the Ultra Despair Girls character development, I honestly did like her as a character. I thought she was funny. Like, she had the whole chasing Byakuya thing, even though he wanted nothing to do with her. And then, like, even though she was assaulted by her, she was like, yes! And then, not only did her regular character just, like, make her character interesting and like, it didn't make her lovable, but I ended up loving her anyway. But her genocide Jack side, or Jill, whatever you want to call it, freaking made it even more interesting. How she has multiple personality disorder, and she's actually this famous serial killer. And I honestly do love that side of her also.
I love that she ended up not killing anyone.
Well, yeah, even her genocider side explained that. She's like, I'm not gonna kill anyone because it would be too obvious. Because I do a certain pattern of how I kill people, and if I would do that, you would automatically know who it is.
Yeah, and that makes sense. But I love this one point because they suspect her in Chihiro's case. Well, she goes, "Well, Chihiro's a girl," and then they go, "Well, no, Chihiro's a cute boy," and she goes, "Oh man, I should have killed him. He's adorable." And I was just like here laughing my ass off. He's a cute boy. What? Like he's the only one worth killing here besides Byakuya. Like,
Yeah, exactly. But like, I freaking I liked how she had two different characters technically. I don't mean that in an insulting way, by the way, but like, I love both sides of her. Like, her regular side was like all shy and stuff, and it was great. But then her genocider side was also amazing, and I love how she's actually like super smart as a serial killer. She's like, I want to keep killing. I don't want to get caught. So why would I kill someone when it would be super freaking obvious? I have to kill someone in a certain way. I liked her as a. I know a lot of people don't like her, but I liked her as a character. I felt like she was an interesting character. Anyway, moving on to best waifu Kirigiri.
not best waifu.
Yeah, not best waifu, but I'm talking about of this game.
In the game, yes.
Yes.
Not best waifu
game.
in general.
No, not best waifu in general. Best waifu is Maki. Fight me. You just went silent. Best waifu is Maki. You can fight me. Chiaki's a close second though.
Anyway, that's a fight for another episode.
Okay, let's move on. Okay, but Kirigiri, really didn't really get much character development with her towards the end, but I felt like it was necessary to keep her mysterious, to keep her character kind of mysterious.
She gets character development in the anime, though.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just saying, I'm not taking points away from her character just because she didn't get that much character development in the first game. I felt like it was necessary to not give her character development in the first game to keep her at this, to keep her as the mysterious character. I felt like it was necessary to do so, and they did it in the right way to where it was acceptable and okay. So it wasn't a Leon; it was actually made. Not giving her character development is what made her interesting. Unlike Leon, which he didn't get character development and it made him bland. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I felt like it was necessary for her character in the story to not really shine any light on her, but she still was like a really memorable pop out character, and I love it. I love Kirigiri. So that's all I really gotta say about her. Like, it's funny because like the best characters we don't have to say much, but the characters that we don't care about, we're just like, oh, here's what I got to say. It's like, all right. It's kind of weird. We could talk hours about characters that aren't interesting, but when it comes to interesting character, it's like, all right. Anyway, moving on to, if you don't have anything to say, we're moving on to Naegi Makoto. Makoto Naegi. Oh, crap. Dang it, we didn't say the freaking ultimates. Freaking Shugo's ultimate despair. Pretty obvious. Hadokuri's ultimate fortune teller, basically. Ashina's ultimate swimmer. Fukawa's ultimate novelist. Freaking Tagami's Tagami's ultimate fluent prodigy. And Kirigiri is
don't
ultimate
ask us
detective.
what that means.
It's basically means he's rich.
Yeah,
And
he's rich, so he got into the school.
and Kirigiri is ultimate detective. One thing, and now we're moving on to the main character, Naegi, who's ultimate lucky student, but turns into the ultimate hope. Get wrecked, Kameda. Get wrecked, Komaeda. Die. I mean, we'll get to that later, but but freaking Nagito, I felt like he's my second favorite protagonist. Suichi was best. We can all agree on that. Suichi was definitely best protagonist. And we'll explain that later. We will explain that later. But not now.
Yeah. Though I still think Hajime is better than Makoto.
No, I think Makoto's better than Hajime. Like, Hajime... Like, Makoto was dumb. Like, dumb in a sense that he had average intelligence. But he had a logical and hopeful side to him, which helped him be smart throughout the cases. Like, each protagonist had their reasoning for being smart and being able to solve all these cases. Hajime, his reasoning was he was super intelligent. I mean, the way he got into Host Peak Academy was he passed the entrance exam. So, he was super intelligent. I felt like Makoto was more interesting as a character because Hajime was very paranoid. He was smart and too logical. And I felt like that made his character kind of bland.
Okay, so Josh, I don't know if you just did not get his story or if you're just entirely wrong about everything all the time. No, I'm kidding. He did not. I mean, you have to take a test to get in, yes, but whether or not he was really smart, I know he does say that his parents had to pay a lot, and I mean a lot of money for him to even get considered being a reserve corps student. So it's like it was more about money than his actual smarts, and I don't know how to tell you this, Josh.
No, they mentioned shush, because they did mention that the test is really hard, and you had to study like crazy to get into there. So, and plus, to think about it, for a school as famous and as big as that, he had to be smart. They're not gonna give you an easy test in order to pay admission, because.
But Josh, I will point this out. If the test was so difficult, how did Fuyuhiko's sister pass the test? If I remember correctly, she was a reserve corps student. Only because she could not be considered the ultimate little sister, so she decided, I'm going to just be a reserve corps student. Stop licking the couch!
But was it implied that she was dumb, though? Because we didn't get much characterization of her, but it wasn't really implied that she was dumb.
I honestly don't think she would have studied, is the thing. I don't think she's dumb, but I don't think she would have studied as much as Hajime would have.
Yeah.
No, there's also other things to counter your arguments about why he's bland and boring, but we can't get into that because of the fact it's not that episode, and I would be spoiling a bunch of stuff that we could talk about in that episode.
Yeah. I felt like his characterization bounces off of other people and not on his own. Like, as Makoto, he has a good characterization on his own.
Let's just stop talking about Hajime, because I could literally tell you right now why all this is going on and why he's like this, but I know
why he's like this. I played the game.
Yes.
But that doesn't change my opinion on him. It doesn't change my opinion on him. We'll talk about this when we get to the second game. But that doesn't change my opinion on him. I felt like Makoto was better as an independent character. And he bounced off of other people. in unique
Didn't I
ways.
just say we should stop talking about this?
But I'm not talking about Hajime. I'm talking about Makoto. So fight me.
But
Fight me
you're
right now.
like,
Fight me
Makoto's
right
better
now.
than Hajime because of this.
Yeah.
No,
But I'm not talking. But we were talking specifically about Hajime because you were countering the argument with Hajime, and they were like, "We'll talk about that when we get to the second game." But I'm talking about Makoto. I'm not bringing. I just mentioned him, but I'm talking about Makoto's character now.
the thing is, though, out of all three of the characters, Makoto is the most boring one I've ever met in my life. And I have perfectly logical reasoning for this, too. As you know, there are secrets behind both Hajime and Suichi. Suichi's the ultimate detective, in quotes. And, you know, Hajime has that little secret, which I won't bring up at this moment. But Makoto is just the ultimate lucky student. And that's all he has going for him. He's not smart.
But
There's nothing about him. And, all these other characters have, really cool attributes. And then there's just the ultimate lucky student who got here based on it solely on his luck. And he's not, luck crazed like Kameda or anything. He's just there. And, when he's going through the trials, Josh, he's always getting, extreme hints from either Kirigiri, Byakuya. I was about to call him Bakugan.
Bakugan! But here's the thing.
Wait.
Here's the thing. First of all, yes, I do agree with that. You do have logical reasoning behind it. It's just I have to disagree because one thing is, yes, those two could hold up on their own. Those two could hold up on their own during class trials, but as a character in itself, even though he was completely average of how his character was meant to be, and how he was just the ultimate lucky student, that didn't affect his character being boring. Leon is the most boring character I've ever met, and I felt like his characterization was the most lackluster, lazy thing that was in the Danganronpa series, and yet he's the ultimate baseball star. However, with the average lucky student that's not really an ultimate, they did a good job because they did a good job with this character because it was him, a normal character, who was living with a whole bunch of ultimates, so he's already self-conscious about that, but trying to live up to ultimate status, but but then he's also put in this life or death situation that he didn't know he was ever going to be in, and really the only thing that was helping him through this was other people, and that's what made him the ultimate hope.
Gosh,
what?
You know what's so funny?
What?
Everything you just said could be described about Hajime as well. An average student, someone forced into a killing game, someone who doesn't believe they deserve to be against ultimates. Wow, that sounds like they could be
You're
against
right,
either.
Kameda.
Kameda! Wow! How was I so blind?
I get it, but I felt like they did. I, in my opinion, I felt like they did Makoto a lot better. Makoto could be seen as a cinnamon roll, as of Hajime is kind of average.
I guess the reason we're arguing about this is that I did not see Makoto as a cinnamon roll.
I did.
I just when I read his character dialogue, I'm just thinking he sounds like that monotone character voice you hear when you're supposed to be the main character, but they don't want to actually be like, "Oh, it's you."
Well, that's how I thought about Hajime.
But that's not how I feel about Hajime, because he actually has a reason for that. He has a reason why he acts the way he does, and maybe it's just because I like the characters in Danganronpa 2 so much that when he plays off of them, that it makes it a lot funnier. Because, him and Kazuichi spying on Nekomaru
I love that. Okay. I have to admit, I love those moments with Hajime. I love those moments. I'm not saying Hajime is a bad protagonist, he's a bad character. I'm just saying he was my least favorite out of the three.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that Makoto's my least favorite out of the three.
I'm actually really glad that we have like differences on this and that we can discuss this. Because that actually made the conversation really, really interesting. I'm actually glad that that me and you have like opposite opinions on these two characters.
Yeah.
It kind of makes it interesting. Like, even though you explain your reasoning, I respect your reasoning and I get why you like him better. I'm just not going to agree with it.
I did change your mind about Gundam, though, so there's that.
Well, technically not really. Because I never hated Gundam in the first place.
No, but I made you like him a lot more. That's what I'm trying to say.
Because before I played the game, you described him, and I'm like, he sounds like a cool character. And then when I played the game, I was like, oh, that's what she's talking about. Yes! I felt like even if you didn't tell me anything, I would love him just as much, but it definitely did help. It definitely did get me hyped up for his character, and he met my expectations.
Well, I mean, when we had that little talk about his trial and everything, like...
Yeah, but I didn't think any less of him from that.
Yeah.
Trial. You just helped me explain the reasoning behind it, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
But yeah, let's talk about his trial and the second one.
We'll talk about that later.
His trial is probably one of my favorites because I don't hate the character who killed because he had a good reason for killing, which I won't spoil, and like I don't hate the person who died because he was a great character as well. Anyway.
My favorite trial in the second one, just really quick, was the third one. For multiple reasons, but I'll get into detail about that later.
Third one. I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, I know who that is.
Yep. Just because of the trope behind it and how everything goes, I just like it when like stuff like that happens.
Because worst character died.
No, she's not freaking worst character. She was like my waifu until I met Chiaki.
No, I'm not talking about Mikan. I'm talking about
worst character. I was super happy. But anyway, just real quick, I love it when when game creators or movie creators or anything like that do that. They take such an innocent character and make him either crazy or evil with reasoning behind it. And then when they finally crack, it's like, oh my goodness.
Natsuki, Yuri, all of them.
Yeah, it's just like, whoa. That's one of the reasons why I like the third trial, but we'll get to that later. Okay. Anyway, speaking of trials, let's go to the first one. I really like how the first trial went. Only thing I wish they didn't do was the whole Leon thing. I felt like that literally made it too obvious because they're just like, hold on, guys. I know there was nothing like this has been done before, so we're just gonna give it away. And then now that you kind of get how this works, we'll let you figure out the rest. I felt like if without the whole Leon thing, the whole Leon clue, it would have been perfectly fine. But they did recover from that by giving that specific clue certain characterization in it. Like, they speculated, Maizono, the reason why she died was because she may have tried to frame me for the murder and get away with it, but at the same time, since her plan failed, she wasn't completely sure about it. Her plan failed because she wasn't completely sure about it because she was betraying you. So she wasn't completely heartless. So I did like how they did that to make it kind of a little bit of a recovery. But in general, from my opinion, basically the whole point of trials is someone gets murdered, do an investigation, and then the class trial starts. Basically, you got to figure out who the Blacken is. If you get it wrong, everyone else dies, and the Blacken goes away. But if you get it right, then only the Blacken dies, and you continue the game. I liked how the first trial went, though. It was a good starter to kind of kick off the series. It kind of made it interesting. It wasn't just like, here's the murderer, here's the culprit. It was like, here's the murderer, here's the culprit. But, oh my god, I just said that. Okay. It wasn't like, here's the murderer, here's the victim. It was more like, there's a murder in the victim, but the victim wasn't completely innocent. The victim actually tried to be the murderer first, and then her plan failed, and she ended up getting killed instead.
Mhm.
I liked that little twist that they added in there. And I liked how it went because it kind of got you into the game. And honestly, my favorite execution out of all the executions in Danganronpa is probably Leon's execution. For these reasons, Leon's execution was my favorite execution out of the whole series because number one, it was realistic, kind of. Like all of them are like over the top, but it was like the most realistic you can get. Like, obviously, you can't shoot a million freaking baseball things out repeatedly because there's, like, delay and stuff. And you can only fit a certain amount in there anyway. So, obviously, it's impossible, but it's more realistic. It fit his talent very well, and it was threatening enough to make you realize, oh, this is a kind of messed up situation. So, like, that's why it's my favorite execution out of all the series, is because it was not too over the top. It was also dangerous enough to realize, oh man, there's serious consequences, and how serious danger all these kids were in, and it got the point across. And that's why it's my favorite execution. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
Also, I really loved how just basically the first trial was pretty good start. It really exercised how the characters would act during a trial too. Your turn.
I really have nothing to say about this trial.
The first trial, because it was just like, it was just basically the tutorial trial.
With the trials, I most likely will not say much about them unless it's like Sakura's trial, or when we get into the second game where all the trials are tragic and sad. Then maybe I'll get more into speaking about the trials, but currently I'm just like, okay, Leon was the killer. He died.
Real
okay.
quick, before we go on to the next trial, I do want to talk about the mechanics. I felt like the mechanics of the trial improved every game. I felt like one thing I really loved about V3 is that in one, there were some aspects of the trial I hated, and two, there were some aspects, mini games of the trial that I hated. But in 3, I didn't hate any of the mini games in 3. I thought all of them were good. All of them were amazing. I didn't have any complaints in the trial. Now, there was some logical, like, reasoning that was kind of, like, iffy. But as far as the mechanics of the trial, I thought the mechanics of the trial for 3 was perfect. I thought they finally got it right, and they made every single one perfect. Like, for one, I hated the absorb thing. I thought that was dumb. I wasn't really a fan of Hangman's Gambit at all. And the whole rhythm game thing at the end, I felt like they did it horribly. It was boring, and sometimes it was too difficult. And I just didn't really like it. The third game, they don't have they got rid of the absorb thing. They actually made the Hangman's Gambit a lot better. And also in the third game, they made the rhythm section a lot better. To where it felt doable, if that made sense. I do have some issues of the second game. Obviously, I have no issues with the game mechanics in the third game. As I said, I like every single aspect of the game mechanics in the third game. Second game we'll get into later. I felt like second game mechanics were definitely an improvement for the first game, but there are some things I didn't like. But we'll get to it when we get to the second game. What was it? One thing I do like, though, is the whole thing that like made this series famous was like the whole nonstop debate thing. Obviously, I thought it was a good idea, a good way to go about the trials. I thought it was cool. An interesting concept. And obviously they were starting out, so they can't get it right the first time. But it was a very unique and really well thought out idea to do it. It's the way you go about trials. Anyway, second trial. I thought it was a lot better, a lot more mystery. There was a little bit of hand holding, but not that much as the first trial. I really liked how you catch the murderer in their lie. Because at first I didn't really suspect Mondo at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a Pecco. It wasn't a Pecco deal, by the way. It wasn't like that. It's just like I didn't really have anyone I actually suspected. I suspected Tagami, but I thought it wasn't him. But I knew it wasn't him because I felt like he was an important character that wasn't going to die too early. So I was like, I don't know who it is, but it wasn't like Pecco to where I was like, what? She's the killer? It was more like I didn't know who it was, and when I found out Mondo was the killer, I was like, oh, that makes sense. I like the way I personally enjoyed the way you catch him in his lie. He basically calls himself out because they're describing the jacket, and no one mentions the color of the Celeste did not mention the color of the jacket at all, and he goes, "Blue jacket, mine is white." It's like, oh. Wow, that's clever. It's kind of like the first time around you don't catch it, but the second time around you're like, oh. So I thought that was a clever way of implementing how to catch the murderer. So I did like the second trial a lot better. As far as the third trial, I hated the third trial so much. It is my least favorite trial out of the entire series. Like I'm not even joking. It is my least favorite trial.
Hifumi sucks.
What?
Hifumi sucks. So I mean, and they killed off a great character with no reasoning.
They made it so obvious. Like I know Kyo's case was really obvious, too. But at least his case was interesting. Celeste's case was painfully obvious. It was really dragged out and boring. Not only was it dragged out and boring, but a lot of the logic behind it, getting through the case was really hard for me because a lot of the logic that could have made sense. Oh my god! Please don't.
I'm sorry. She's trying to play with a toy, and she can't pick it up. You guys don't know as streamers, but I have a pug, and so she can't pick things up as a normal dog. And then I also have a dachshund who has a really long nose. Everything like normal. And she was just trying to pick up one of his toys, but she just kept throwing it everywhere because she couldn't pick it up right. So,
oh my god.
Sorry, continue.
But for the third trial, I felt like I don't know. I hear you, mate. Oh my god, Room Factory has cats and like one time Room Factory was typing like this, it wasn't him, but his cat was sitting on his keyboard and I was getting random messages from him and he's like, it's not me, it's my cat.
I have a cat too, and so she's actually right here on the floor. Yoshi? She doesn't like me much.
But like, I thought the third trial was dumb. It was stupid. The reasoning behind it, the bullets you have to shoot down were stupid. It was like the whole, there's too many non-stop, there's too many freaking machine gun battle things, the rhythm games. Also, like, the reasoning you had to get to accusing Celeste, who was obviously the murderer, was dumb. And that's what would cause you to lose. That was literally the only trial I didn't get an A on. And I thought it was completely stupid. It was annoying, and it was like it was artificially hard. It was like a freaking math critical thinking problem where they're like, instead of describing the math problem basically and solving actually looking at the stuff to solve it, we have to word it in a complicated way just to trick you. And it's so dumb. It's so dumb. And that's what Celeste's thing felt like. I hated her trial so much. One thing I did like is what kind of like what Mikon did was like how she had her like French accent, but then like when we started accusing her, she started cracking, and then she had her normal accent. She was like, "Oh, excuse me," and then all of a sudden she's like, "Hey!" in like a completely normal accent, and it was like, oh my goodness, her voice actor had range.
Well, and that's also like never mind.
But like I really loved how her voice like changed to normal and how she could switch back and forth, and when she cracked, I actually liked her freak out. I thought it was really well done. That was the only good thing I could say about the trial.
Yeah. The reasoning behind why she killed Ishimaru, which we spoke about a little bit when we were talking about Ishimaru, it sucked. Like the reasoning behind it was just terrible, and it's just like I killed him because I could kill him. Like, or because I want vampire dick in my life or something. But it was kind of ridiculous. I know she wanted power, but like she was the one preaching like we need to live in this house with each other for the rest of our lives. But I obviously don't mean any of it.
By the way, Matt, I know I have it on the settings. I don't know if it actually is me, because Roof Factory said he messed with his earphones and then it was perfectly fine. But I will do a double check. Wow! Okay. Real quick. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
What happened?
Okay, let me turn myself down a bit. Apparently, mine's only coming out like the left side. Oh, you're right, Matt. You're right. For my mic, since it's connected to a soundboard, it has to be on mono instead of stereo. And mine was on stereo. Try them on 3 streams is hard. Matt, I'm almost close to... Oh, wow. Okay, everything's coming through a lot, but holy crap. Okay. Yeah, Matt, you're right. It was on stereo, not mono. Thanks for calling that. Matt, my friend Matt, Matthew Cobell.
Yeah.
He's a tech guy, and he figured out with my mic it has to be on mono.
Matthew Cobell. Matthew, I missed you.
Oh, freaking! I can do nothing about that. Freaking Elena's just gonna be super loud. I can turn her down. Don't know how much that's gonna help.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just a really loud person.
But no, that ruined factor. That's not what he was talking about. My mic was only going through like the left ear through headphones, and it has to be on mono instead of stereo. I don't know why. It's dumb, but it has to do that. It's a studio mic. Don't ask me. But thanks, Matt, because it was on stereo and it wasn't on mono. I forgot it had to be that way. Anyway, so as I was saying about Celeste's thing, I just didn't freaking like her case. It was so stupid. We basically described everything about it. Oh yeah, well you need. Oh, okay. Okay, got it. Oh, by the way, Matt, even if I don't say your comments out loud, I'm still reading it, so don't worry about it. Let's move on to the 4th case, the one that you're going to talk a lot about. freaking Sakura's case. Even though it was sad that she committed suicide, I loved how it was completely different. How no one was murdered this time. It was just her killing herself. It was completely different to what you would expect.
The sad thing though is the fact that no one dies after her, so it's kind of like either proving herself right or proving herself wrong.
Yeah.
Proving herself right in the fact that now that she's dead, no one's going to die after her, or proving herself wrong as she wouldn't have been murdered in the first place because all these people are way too fucking weak.
By the way, Matt said miss you too, Elena.
I love you. Bye-bye. I love you. But yeah, it's, if you think about it, Makoto, Kirigiri would never kill anyone without a sound reasoning. Like, they did try and prove that she killed Makuro when she really didn't, obviously. We'll get to that. And, Byakuya can kill someone, but, at this point, going to. I think he'd probably choose someone just as strong and intellectual as him, and there was no one currently there that would be sound enough for him to kill.
Well, except for Kirigiri, but Kirigiri would not be easy to kill if he tried.
Kirigiri wouldn't go down to damn Byakuya.
Yeah, she would not go down to Byakuya, so that was out of the question.
And then he can't kill Makoto because Kirigiri's going to be watching his every move.
I thought you were going to say because he's the main character. I was like, third game.
No, not anymore.
Because it's Tadaka. Freaking. What was it? Ashina was accused, but it would have been too obvious.
Yeah.
Hanakuri's too dumb.
Too obvious.
Oh, go ahead.
It's not even too obvious for her to kill Sakura. It's just plain sad to even think about it, suddenly I find out that she's a traitor and I suddenly kill her. You don't want to judge her based on that. I actually like the way they went, where Asahina was literally being a protective older sister, you all killed her, so now I'm going to kill us all, ha ha ha.
Well, freaking, Hagakure is too dumb to carry out a complicated plan. Fukawa can't stand the sight of blood, so she's never gonna kill. And even if her genocider side killed, it would be way too obvious because she kills only in a certain way, and she's not gonna ever change it just for a killing game. So literally, the only if you think about it, only possible person it could be was herself.
Yeah, and if you honestly think more in detail, there's no way there might be a chance Byakuya would have killed her. But I know he didn't, but he would have killed someone if she didn't die. But I highly doubt he would have killed Fukawa because everyone would have been like, oh, obviously he did it because he hated her. And then he can't kill Kirigiri or Makoto because Kirigiri would probably kill him first. Then Hagakure would be too stupid. So I guess he could kill Hagakure. But why would he? I don't feel like Byakuya would be like, you're too stupid to live, let me kill you.
Here's the
thing.
thing.
Like he would kind of...
he wouldn't kill him because Byakuya thought this, he was kind of like Oma, he was like, this is a game, and I want to win. But he didn't think, he thought it would be too easy to, I think his mindset was, it's too easy to kill Hanakuri.
Yeah. someone's stupid. And like, I kind of find it funny that all the characters who like won't kill end up being to survive to the end, instead of like characters who would kill but just choose not to. Like, these characters either legitimately can't kill because, you know, Makoto probably would not be able to stab someone for the like entirety of his life. Kirigiri probably wants to withhold her detectivehood, and I mean, Byakuya could probably stab someone, and maybe they could, but you know, Asahina, I doubt she could kill anyone. You know, Hagakure probably couldn't kill anyone. Like, I kind of wish it was like people who actually could kill someone, but just decided, I'm not gonna kill anyone today. like how Maki in the third game was. She was an assassin, but she's just like, I don't want to kill anyone.
Yeah, obviously, and after, like, well, we're not supposed to get in the third game yet, but just real quick. Yeah. After she was, like, discovered to be the ultimate assassin, it would have been way too obvious. Everyone would have been like, it's Maki!
Yoshi, I'm back. Okay, I'll get the pug instead.
Also, I felt like all the killers were kind of at a disadvantage because of Soichi. Like, seriously, he's the ultimate detective. Everyone was at a disadvantage for the third game.
But you also gotta think of it. If that's the case, then the killers were at a disadvantage because of Kirigiri in the first game.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say is, because we are talking about the post-game content, like, I never played it for the first game, I don't think you ever have, so obviously we're not doing it for this one. But you're going to talk about the post-game content for the second game, and I'm going to talk about the post-game content for the third game, and I have my reasoning behind it. But one reasoning is you actually find out what Rentaro's actually ultimate talent is, and I feel like you really appreciate it. Also, you get a lot of backstory in his free time event. So not only do you get a lot of his backstory, but you figure out his ultimate talent. Obviously, it's not Ultimate Survivor because it was the whole freaking thing, you know, which we won't go into yet. But I
couldn't get to that stuff because as soon as I pulled up my PS Vita with your games on them, they said error, whatever, and I looked up the error, and they said the good is to do a restart, like a hard restart of my entire PS Vita.
And then you would be logged out of my account.
Yeah, I had to basically put my account on there, and everything was wiped. There's no games anymore anyway, so it's just like, okay.
Well, I wanted to give it to you, that way you at least got a chance to play it, which you did. I'm glad you got to play through the whole game before that situation happened. So now your goal is to get it for yourself. I know you have the first two games on Steam, but I would recommend getting them either on PS4 or Vita, because they're a lot easier to control. And the PS4 bundle 1 and 2 is together, and it's like $29. So
yeah, I saw that.
I would get those, and then get the V3 version on Vita, because it doesn't have the glitches that the PS4 and Steam thing does. But anyway, moving on. 5th/6th trial, I'm gonna put those together. I really like the concept behind it, how it was a setup, and how it was meant for Kirigiri, but ended up being the main character was wrongly accused, and he was supposed to be quote unquote executed, but then he wasn't. He was saved by the AI program. I thought that was like I thought that was a good twist, and it really spiced things up, and it really got things connected and pumped up for the finale. Oh, on the PS4 and Steam version, there was glitches to where if you saved it at a certain point, like in the first trial, if you saved at a certain point, everything would be black and you would only see dialogue. Also, in the last trial, if you would save when in the intermission, it would reveal the mastermind too early. It would literally reveal the mastermind. it would literally replace the person sprite with the mastermind sprite, and you would know who the mastermind is before you actually revealed it. So, yeah, there's glitches on the console version and Steam version, but for some reason, not the Vita version, which I was very grateful because I didn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
Sorry, I'm just watching Miss Lena squish a ball on her.
But for like the last case, I felt like it was a cop out. Honestly, it was a cop out. It was like, I got the whole world in despair, and I'm showing this to make everyone in despair, and all my followers are wreaking havoc and stuff, and I have control of everything.
The thing is, every single Danganronpa game's ending was a cop-out. The first game, Junko wasn't actually Junko. You know, it was Miko playing as Junko, you know. And she's actually the ultimate despair, and everything's dead in the world.
And then we'll talk about the other endings later.
Yeah.
I'll cut you off there. But here's the thing. Even though the second and third games ending were cop-outs, I like them. I like the
first one and the second one, and then I hate the third one.
I like the third one, and I will explain my reasoning behind that when we get to the third game. Also, I'll explain how the fan base felt about it, so you can get kind of like an overall perspective of it. I could tell you off stream how the fan base felt about it, and then discuss it in the podcast. But I won't tell you my reasoning behind why I like it until we do the podcast, because I do want to discuss about that. But I didn't really like the first one, just because like it did start out everything, but I felt like for something it was already extreme enough, and then they made it like, and they kind of crossed the line. That's why I felt like it kind of did. It went from, oh, we're trapped in a school with a crazy person, to, oh, the whole world is dead. It's like, oh, okay, nice. All right.
Well, I mean, the thing, though, is you say you like the second game a lot, but if the first game wasn't like that, then the second game couldn't be what it is.
Yeah, that's why I like the second game, because the first game set it up to where the second game made sense. Like, the ending doesn't ruin the game for me. I just didn't like how the whole series was based off of that ending. But they did do a good job on it. It's just, they could have done better. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, they could have, but I do like how they did it. I mean, I've been watching, you know, I'll talk to you later when we're not streaming about this comic I've been watching. I'll give you all a brief description, but it's basically to show about how shit humanity is. And then my English 101 teacher gave me a handout about a place called Nerica. Not America, Nerica. Where people hate their bodies and are crazy obsessed with going to the bathroom and piss. It's like all this crazy stuff. It's just about to show how shit humanity is already. So, like, knowing all these bad people in the world, I can actually really turning against, like, the good people. Like, you know, there's the Purge movies and everything. It would kind of be the same as that, you know? Just, like, on a larger scale where a teenage girl would be the cause of it all.
Yeah. Really, that's all I gotta say about Last Round. That's all I really gotta discuss about the game. We didn't really play the post-content stuff. I thought overall it was a good start. It was definitely a good start. It got me engaged. It got me wanting to play the other games. And it's better than Phoenix Wright Fight Me. No. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, so let me explain this. I have this joke to when people are like, what's Danganronpa? And I was like, oh, it's Phoenix Wright, but actually fun. I say that as a joke because if I had to pick between the two, I obviously prefer Danganronpa, but I do
Yes.
love the Phoenix Wright games.
As you know, because I'm making you play the Apollo Justice games.
You're making me play the Apollo Justice games, and I freaking love Apollo. He's a little cinnamon roll.
Yes, he is. He's bae as frick.
Well, really, that's all I have to say about like this. We were planning on discussing all 3 games in like one podcast, but then 2 would be a lot.
3 hours.
We took a long time going through this game. And I didn't want to rush it too. I wanted to discuss this, and it took a lot longer than we thought. We were streaming for like 2.5 hours. Actually, my normal stream times are actually like 5 hours. I stream from 9 to 2. But since this is a podcast, podcasts are around like 2 to 3 hours. So I want to keep it around that time for podcast sake because I'm also uploading this on YouTube.
And the fact that it's about to be like 11 p.m. at night.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter for me, but it does matter for you because I stay up with Joey till like 1 o'clock all the time.
I stay up a lot, but I have to work at 12 p.m.
Yeah,
tomorrow,
but that's what I'm saying. You have work, so. Literally, I do want to split this into 3. Do a podcast per game. Like next podcast will be with Elena, and it will be on the second game, and the next one will be on the third game because those will be longer than this one. Because we got a lot more to say about the other games because they were just better.
Yeah, and I won't say that this game sucked, guys. It's just that they got better. Like, and honestly, I do like we talked about how we do Persona. I do think the third game is a better game. I just like the storytelling and the characters of the second game better than the third game. Because I only got attached to 3 or 4 characters of the third game.
Well,
And I got attached to almost all of the characters of the second game, so...
Well, for me in Persona, third game is my favorite, even though I do acknowledge that the 4th and 5th game were way better in terms of social links and gameplay aspects and characters. They were way better, but I personally like the third game for the best for my own reasons. So kind of like that. Like this game is fantastic. It's just the other 2 games are better. But yeah, that's about it. This is the first podcast that I've done on this stream. I didn't really expect to get the normal view count I get because this is something different I do. Usually when I'm streaming games, I get an average of like 7 to 10 viewers. And then sometimes I get lucky and get like 15 to 17. But I didn't expect to get that much because this is something new and something people would have to like kind of get into. But whether it takes off or not, I'm still going to be doing this because I like discussing about games.
Yeah.
Especially when it's with other people. Like Elaine, I'm really glad Elena decided to do this because I had so much fun like discussing about this. And I thought it'd be perfect, and I'm glad I picked you for this one. But in the future, I will be doing more podcasts. The next podcast will be Danganronpa 2 with Elena, and then after that will be Danganronpa 3. And then for future podcasts, I plan on doing Kingdom Hearts with Sanity, and then Persona with Sanity and Elena. And then, Matthew, I do need to talk to you because I do want to do a podcast about Mario with you. So I do want to do a podcast about Mario with you in the future. And if you're obliged, after I do freaking the podcast with the after I finish the Danganronpa podcast with Elena, we can go ahead and get that started. I don't know if you're going to be after Sanity or before Sanity because Sanity is usually ready almost all the time. So it just depends when you're available to do it. But I want to finish up Elena first. But that's really all I'd say. It's the end of the podcast. So
Well, like I'm gonna say right now, I'm free every Tuesday and Thursday because I have school those days. So as long as it's after 7 o'clock, I should be fine. on those days to just, talk about it.
Well, I don't have school on those days, so unless I'm working, then it's a go. So most likely there will be the second part of the podcast on Tuesday. So get ready for that. Other than that, we will be continuing Crash Bandicoot 3. We will actually be finishing up Crash Bandicoot 3 on I stream every week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Saturday. Okay. I stream Monday. No, yeah. Wait, no. Let me think about that. I streamed. Oh crap! I gotta change my panels because I accidentally set the wrong days. Oh my god. Okay, you know what? I'll do that in a bit. But I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Those are the days I stream. I just streamed Monday this week because it was a holiday. I didn't have school. So I stream from 9 to 12. It's usually a 5-hour stream. Not 9 to 12, but 9 to 2. It's a 5-hour stream. We'll be finishing up Crash 3, and if the time is cut short, then we will be continuing on to Crash 2, because we're going backwards from 3, 2 to 1. Everyone, check Room Factory Guy out, check Luigi Master out, and because they're great streamers. Luigi Master was originally a streamer on YouTube, but he switched to Twitch for copyright reasons. You with another podcast group? That's awesome. Thanks, Elena, for coming. So on Tuesday, we will pick up on Danganronpa 2, which will probably be our longest podcast, because we both have a crap ton to talk about this.
Well, and the fact that I'm off that Wednesday right after it means that we could stay up longer and talk about it. So.
Oh, that's perfect. If you're off Wednesday. Actually, no. Wait, no, not Wednesday, because I have school.
Yes, that's why I'm saying you can't.
Yeah.
Do it Wednesday, but.
Anyway, Matthew, I will freaking text you, and after I'm done talking with Elena off stream, and I will talk about this. Anyway, thanks for coming. My usual consistent viewers are Room Factory, Bubba, and Sandy. Sandy, I think he's asleep. Bubba Chase was here earlier, and of course Room Factory is still here. So of course this is a new thing, so I didn't get as much viewers as I usually get, but it's fine because I don't care. I'll do this anyway, even if no one's watching, because I have fun with this, and I like talking about stuff like this, especially with friends. And I picked the perfect person to talk about Danganronpa with. I'm very satisfied, Elena.
I'm happy.
I'll pull a Kaido. I decided to believe in you, and if you fail me, then it's my fault. But obviously, you didn't. But hopefully, for the next podcast, we won't have freaking audio issues. So, thanks also, Matthew, for reminding me to put it on mono instead of stereo. I had it on mono, but then I had to reinstall freaking OBS. I forgot to change it. So, anyway, I'm just gonna end the stream before this drags on. So, Matthew, I'll text you in a bit. If you are streaming, then I'll talk to you in chat. So if you are streaming today, I will talk to you in chat. But it looks like you don't stream today, so according to your schedule. So, anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on not Friday because I got to do homework, but probably, and I'm probably hanging out with Kelly Saturday. So I'll see you guys Tuesday when I stream Crash Bandicoot 3 and we finish the game. And then we do another podcast. So, anyway, guys, see ya.